What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JB coming to you today with the review for Claws, Season 3, Episode 6, and the episode is titled Fly Like an Eagle. So, what I think this season, Claws has like 10 episodes in the season, so we're wrapping up. We're on season, we got 4 episodes left. Not quite sure what the direction of this season was supposed to be. I mean, I'm still watching it, I'm still enjoying it, but I'm just a little confused about the direction of the show. So, without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and just jump right into the video. Alright, you guys, so the episode, it opens up where last week's episode left off was with, Desna. She had the gun, and, she was talking about she was going to go after Mac and Melba. So, Roll is trying to calm Desna down, and before she does anything stupid that she can't take back or that she might regret. So then we got this oddly placed scene of, the song that Jennifer Hudson did in Dreamgirls, and I can't remember what, Jennifer Holiday, I believe that's her name. And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going. That was just a weird placement of that song. I was just like, okay. I was confused, like, where the fuck did this come from? Because it was just oddly placed. And then she's singing a song to Dean, and I'm just like, oh, again, oddly placed, but we're gonna move on, okay? All right, so at the nail shop, Jen is doing a mail carrier's nails, and then Desna comes into the shop, and Desna is just telling them how, hey, I am really losing, Dean to Mac and Melba, and and Virginia agrees with her. She's like, yeah, because he's been spending all his time at the casino, but all his stuff is at the motel. So eventually he'll have to come back to the motel. And then, that's when Desna has a bright idea. So we see Virginia and Desna at the motel, and they're packing up their things for, Dean and Virginia to move in with her. So then Dean shows up, and Dean says that he does not want to go with her, and he tells her that, basically, in a nutshell, Mac treats him much better than, Desna does. And that he wants her out of his life. And I'm like, wow, that's something to say to your sister who has done basically everything for you since you guys were kids and your parents abandoned you, that she doesn't care about you in the way that Mac does. Like, I get that Dean is autistic, but I would hope that Dean can see that Mac is clearly playing the shit out of him, but obviously he doesn't. So then we go back to the shop. So at the shop, Desna is still upset about what happened to Dean at the hotel. And then at the motel, at the nail shop, they are trying to figure out, like, what angle is Mac and Melba playing? Because at this point, they don't really have there's nothing that should be any kind of, link between them, because they have gotten Desna out of the casino. So what kind of hold do they have over him, and what do they want from him? Because there is obviously something that Mac and Melba want from Dean. But the question is, what is it that Mac and Melba want from him? And it's something that Desna's going to have to figure out. All right, guys, so next I'm going to talk about Virginia. So we saw Virginia. Virginia went down to the casino to try to talk to Dean about, him spending all his time at the casino, him not coming to the motel where she's at. And, like I said, he's obviously at the Mahjong table. So he's playing a game of Mahjong, but and I'm noticing a pattern. So if anybody talks to Dean while he's playing Mahjong, he gets distracted and he loses his game, because that's what happened with this. He lost the game. And he flipped out on Virginia. So then, he asked Virginia, like, what happened to the Virginia that I fell in love with? She was like, that Virginia has been sleeping at the motel in a bed full of bed bugs, and then you make me organize my thongs. I'm like, organize your thongs? How the fuck do you organize some thongs? By colors, by size, by what? How do you organize some thongs? But again, he is autistic. And then out of nowhere, Dean tells Virginia that, hey, it's over, Virginia. We need to break up. And I'm like, wow, Dean, you're breaking up with Virginia because she's not in agreement with you with this stupid-ass Mahjong shit that you're doing? Okay. If you say so. Like, and I don't get how he doesn't see that this is an addiction. Clearly, you're addicted. If you're not going back to where you're living at because you are so fixated on playing Mahjong, that is an addiction, Dean. I don't know what... I know Dean in his brain, because when he was talking to Calvin last week about his crack addiction, he's like, I'm not a crackhead. Well, you're not a crackhead, but you are addicted to this stupid-ass game. And no offense to anybody who likes Mahjong, because I actually like Mahjong myself, but he's addicted to it. So then Virginia returns to the shop. She tells the girls that Dean broke up with me, and she's like, and Desmond's like, what? He broke up with you? She was like, yes. And then she's like, well, you know what? Once we get all this stuff figured out, we're gonna have a girls' day. We're gonna eat. Jim's like, we're gonna eat hot Cheetos. We're gonna watch Love and Hip Hop marathon. And Polly chimed in and said something. I didn't catch what Polly said. So then we saw a scene where Virginia was at the motel, and she was just flipping through her phone, and she was looking at pictures of she and Dean. And then EJ calls her, and she stops crying for a minute, but then when she does get on the phone with EJ, she starts back up crying, and EJ is like, "Is everything okay?" And he was like, "If you need to talk, I'm here to talk." So so then we see Virginia. She is talking with EJ. They are having tea, which really wasn't tea. They was drinking Sunkist and eating zebra cakes. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of good ghetto shit is this? So then Jen shows up with Brienne, who says she got to pee like a racehorse in the Kentucky Derby. And, Brienne is like, why is Black Daddy with China Doll? Oh, God, that was funny. Black Daddy with China Doll. So then Virginia says, wait a minute. Eric is your baby daddy? And Jim's like, girl, you knew that. She said that he's posted all over my Instagram. She says, I don't follow you on Instagram. And Jim's like, you don't follow me on Instagram? She says, no. So then Jen calls her hoe, and she tells EJ that that's low of him. And I'm like, but if they didn't know about each other, if he didn't know that was your girl, and she didn't know that was your baby daddy, how are you mad? And then you are not with him. You're married to Bryce. So you still have, again, you really have no reason to be mad. So what the fuck, Jen? So then, she tells EJ that this custody thing is not working. And Virginia, yeah, I have herpes, so he's gonna give you my herpes. And she was like, what the fuck? So then we saw Jen. Jen was talking to Bryce about Virginia. And Bryce is like, okay, why are we talking about this? Because he says, it sounds like you're kind of jealous. She's like, I'm not jealous. She's like, that goes against the code. Like, that's my girl. My girl should not be fucking my baby daddy, and my baby daddy should not be fucking with my homegirl. And she says, like I said, Bryce said that it sounds like jealous. She's like, no, I'm just venting. No, you're just jealous. He's like, well, if you're talking about code, what about the code that you took when you got married about not cheating? She's like, you're really gonna go there? You're really gonna go there? And then, he tells her, how about you look at this? Because he tried to talk to her about from his book. She's like, Bryce, I don't want to hear nothing about that fucking book. So then he says, well, how about you look at it from Virginia's point of view? Virginia got dumped by Dean, who was her fiance. So she might just want a shoulder to cry on. And I'm like, exactly. Because Virginia even told Jen that she hadn't fucked EJ. So nothing's happened. They're just talking to each other. And I mean, you could clearly see that they sitting there drinking some fucking Sunkist and eating zebra cakes. Like, really? Really? So then we see at the shop, Virginia and Polly were there, and Polly was doing a pedicure, and she got a gift from Joe, which was a gun, talking about he misses her. So then Jen shows up, and Jen tells, Virginia, like, hey, I apologize, that's my bad. I did too much, I'm overprotective of my dick, even if it's old dick. But they let it go, and it's good between those two. Because she was like, well, do you follow me on Instagram now? She says, I do. She said, you don't really have herpes. She says, oh, yeah, I got that. That's for life. I said, God damn. All right, next, you guys, we're going to talk about Ann and Arlene. So we see Ann and Arlene. They are on a date with one another. And, Ann is talking to Arlene. She's talking about them being a family with one another and, possibly having a kid. And Arlene is like, it's just the two of us. I'm happy with that right now. Like, why do we have to change it? Well, shit, the reason why you got to change it is because your girl is pregnant, but you don't know that. So then we see them again on another date. And, this is where Ann tells Arlene that she is, in fact, pregnant. And, she tells her that I want to keep the baby. I do. She says, if I have to raise this baby alone, I'm okay with doing that, but I prefer to raise it with you and it be our family. So Arlene tells her, you know what? I need a minute. Let me think about this. Let me run this over my head, and I'll get back to you. So this was the end of the episode. Arlene comes to the nail shop, and she tells Ann, like, hey, I'm in it for the long haul. Let's get married. And, Ann is like, what? Are you serious? She says, yes. Let's get married. She says the reason why she walked away the last time is because she was afraid. Because you guys remember last season at the adoption that they tried to do, it didn't work out the way that they wanted it to work out. So she was just fearful of that. But this is a different situation because Anne is actually pregnant with the baby. So there's no way that they can, have the baby ripped from under. Well, technically they could, but we're not going to speak that into existence. But, at this point, there's no way that they could lose the baby to the system, to, anything system-wise. Put it that way. So, she says, yes, I'm in it to win it. Like, it's me and you and our baby. So, Ann and Arlene are happy and expecting a baby. All right, so now we're going to jump over to Uncle Daddy, Dr. Ken, and Brenda. So, at the clinic, at the rehab place that Uncle Daddy and them have, Uncle Daddy is doing his thing, talking to the drug addicts, and I'm still like, really? This is interesting as shit. Somebody with no background in, drug rehabilitation is giving us like, I guess you would say, a seminar on getting clean. But okay. So then Dr. Ken is getting ready to leave, and Dr. Ken tells Uncle Daddy, like, yo, I ain't making no money, like, because he asked him what's he going on a date with his girlfriend, whatever her name is. He says, I can't even afford to take her out on a date. And he's like, this is my way of living. He's like, I don't care about what you're talking about, cleaning these people up. If money doesn't come into the clinic soon, I'm gonna have to take my services elsewhere because Peter Pan is hiring. And if money does not come to this clinic, I am dipping the fuck out. So, then we see Uncle Daddy and Brenda. We see them go out to the casino. They having a good fucking time with one another. I'm like, ooh, where is Toby at? Because Toby would be pissed to see his man with her. So, again, Uncle Daddy's still doing his rehab thing. So it's winding down. And then, he's asking Brenda, does she want to go out again? And Brenda's like, no, because that's really not who I am. My whole thing is like doing a bonsai tree. And she named out some other stuff. He said, did you say bonsai? She says, yes, I said bonsai. So then we see those two, snipping the bonsai. I'm like, oh, yep. There's definitely a connection and some chemistry between Uncle Daddy and Brenda. Woohoo! Toby, might want to get your gun out, buddy. So then we see Dr. Ken and his girlfriend. They are on a date and they're at the casino. And I didn't realize, at first I didn't realize where they were, but then I heard Mac's voice. I'm like, oh, they're at Bayview. So then Mac and Melba are putting on a weird ass show. Those freaks. And so it's a scene about her giving birth. Who, might you ask, is she giving birth to? She's giving birth to Dean. I said, no. Are you fucking joking? This is ridiculously weird as shit. So then, Melba actually passed out. And Dr. Ken asked for something from asked if anybody in the audience has something. I forgot what he said. And everybody just started throwing it up there on the stage at him. I'm like, well, goddamn, what kind of drugs are y'all people doing? And he shoots up with almost like an EpiPen. But, so then, in the woods, we see Dr. Ken and that strange woman, his girlfriend. She got aroused and turned on by what he said on the stage. And now they are in the woods, dressed like skunks, and they're fucking. I'm like, how much weirder can this get? Like, I thought the thing with Mac and Melba was weird, but this shit just takes the cake. All right, so then we see Mac. So Mac is trying to poison Dean against Desna. And, he's telling him how, he's just making him feel like he is his only family. I'm like, if Dean is stupid enough to fall for that, he's gullible to believe anything. So then we see Dean talking to Mac and Melba, and he says that he doesn't want to hurt her. I'm not sure if that her was Desna or if it was Virginia. And they say that he needs to do that. He needs a new escape. He needs an escape, and by doing so, he needs to move to the casino. And then they tell him about this private island where they're going to build this school where the Native Americans can go to the school for free. And then they talk about them. He mentions them having kids, about doing in vitro. I didn't understand that scene. And then they ask Dean, what is he? They need something from him, and then Melba asked him, like, what is he doing this evening? And I've already talked about what happened with that one. So then we see a scene where Melba is mad that Desna went to the governor and that they need to rethink their exit strategy and it's time to cash in on Dean. But he says, Max says that Dean is important to him. And she says, you have to remember. She says, is he more important to me? He says, no, he's not more important to you. She says, okay, good. You have to remember that Dean is a mark. And I'll get into that in just a few minutes. The whole thing about why Melba was upset about Desna going to the governor. So stick around for that. All right, next. So we saw Calvin. He went over to Desna's place, and he tells Desna that he lost his job at the firm because the firm really didn't believe his story about what happened between Mac and Melba, thinking that him saying that Melba spiked his drink. The firm actually thinks that he spiked his own drink, so they fired him. So then, we see Desna. Desna went to the casino, and she was trying to get Dean to move in with her and Calvin because Calvin has his place somewhere. I forgot what she said. And, Dean says, no, I don't want to go. He's like, you don't support me, Desna, in my dreams. She's like, Dean, your dreams change every 5 seconds like the wind does. And, he says that, Mahjong is his calling. And those other things are just hobbies. And how he says Max thinks he can be the best player. She says they are fucking cons, Dean. And then he tells her again that Max treats him better than her, and she's like, "You fucking joking? Like you're joking with me, right?" So then we see Mac and Melba in the office watching the security footage, and they were having sex. They were fucking. I'm like, and she's just sitting there eating some popcorn, not even moaning. I'm like, wow. That's like fucking a corpse almost, basically, because she wasn't doing shit. But, she's talking about how they have to create a plan to shield them from Desna because Desna is not going to go up on, saving Dean from them. So then we see Desna, she's at the shop, and she's telling the girls how Dean had her thrown out of the casino. And then Ed says, well, hey, you might have to find another way into the casino. So then, she says, hey, maybe I can blackmail the governor on what we know about him with the private prisons, the sex party, Mac and Melba, all that stuff. So then we see Desna, she's talking to Calvin again, and he asks her did she talk to Dean. She says, I did talk to Dean, but I need some time. How she basically has her foot on Mac and Melba's neck. And he tells her, well, I'm being ready to leave. I think you should pack your shit up and come with me. He's like, because this lifestyle that you in is not good. She said, but I can't leave my lifestyle to go to your lifestyle without Dean. And he says, okay, well, if you need me, you can always call me. And I'm like, wow, interesting turn of events. An interesting turn of events. So then we see Desna and Roller. They actually they were at the shop, and Jen told them where they can find the governor at because he's doing he's doing stops at different places. So then we see Roller and Desna, they go to see the governor. So, she tells him that, hey, you're going to help me bring down Mac and Melba. Because if you don't, I'm going to blab to everybody that I know about the shit that you... Because she's like, he was like, he didn't remember her. She's like, yeah, if I had my mask on, you would definitely remember me from the sex party. So he tried to play it off like he didn't know what the hell she was talking about. But she's like, like I said, if you don't help me, I will tell everybody I know about the private prisons. You've been in bed with Mac and Melba. Everything that I know about you, the sex parties, I will reveal that shit. And he's like, okay, you don't have any proof. That's why he wasn't worried about it. So then, let's see. Where do we want to go? Okay, so then we are back at the shop. And before I go to the shop, we saw a scene with Roller. He was talking to Polly. Polly was upset about Joe being a killer. And then, she mentioned Bayview. And he was like, wait a minute. He works for Mac and Melba? So then at the shop, they talking about this. And Roller says, well, hey, Polly, since you in good with the dude, since you know in good with the dude at the Bayview, why don't you hit him up? She was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, he gave you the D. And she was like, they were like, wait a minute. You fucked Joe? And she was like, yeah. And then, Ann chimes in. She's like, and, Paula's like, but you fucked the Frenchman. She's like, yeah. But with my Frenchman, I got information on him. And she said he's under investigation So, Des like, look here, me and you, Ann, we're gonna go pay him a visit and let's see. And she said to Pop, see, Ann used her pussy for good. You use your pussy for personal gain. So then we see them, they go and visit the French dude. Wow. Dude is married with kids. So they tell him, they want him to help them with information about the governor. He like, man, y'all can't do nothing to me. I ain't worried about y'all. Who's gonna believe y'all if y'all tell anybody anything? So Ann puts her foot in the doorway and she says, how about if I tell your wife that I'm pregnant? He said, how do I know it's mine? How do you know it's mine? I'm like, dude, you really can't tell that she's a lesbian? Like, really? But okay. Okay. So she says, how about we just take a DNA test and let the whole world know? And then he tells them that, hey, so there is a judge. What he's doing is he over sentenced, minorities, and he sends them to the governor's private prisons. And then he's taking some kickbacks as well. I'm like, oh. So then as Ann and Desna are leaving, that's when Ann tells her, like, I am really pregnant. So she says, have you told Arlene? She says, no, I have not told Arlene because Arlene does not want to have kids. She says, you need to sit down, you need to have a conversation with Arlene about this and tell Arlene that you're pregnant. So I've already talked about that, but you know how that happened. So we move back over to Desna and Roller. So Desna's talking about how she needs to, since he's taking the judge is taking kickbacks, what they need to do is they need to get proof of this. Since if he's getting kickbacks, the money has to be going into some kind of account. So they got to get the evidence. And then she remembers about the Khmer carrier at the shop who told her if she needed any help with getting anybody's mail, that she was her girl. So, and then Roller, because Roller told her to follow the paper trail. So then we see, her following the paper trail, and the paper trail leads her to Miss Juicy, who provides her with some bank statements. So she got the bank statements, and then she and Jen go to one of the things that the campaign trails that he's on, and with the proof of the kickbacks. So Desna asks him, how did you even get in bed with Mac and Melba in the first place? He says that with Mac and Melbourne, the casino is a scam. It's not Native American and it's not on Native land at all. And he says, all I care about is money. That's it. I don't care about the black people, the black people, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people. I don't give a fuck about nobody but the greenbacks. So she says, okay, what you gonna do is you're gonna kill the private prisons with them, and you're gonna come to me. I'm a laundry. I'm gonna clean your money for you at a better percentage than what Mac and Melba gives you. So then they go to the casino, and they tell Mac and Melba that the prison deal is dead. And Desna says that she is taking over, and they say, well, actually that can't happen because we answer to a higher power. She said, y'all don't answer to nobody's God. And they says, no, we don't answer to anybody's God. We answer to the Macau triad, who is the biggest and the deadliest money launderers in this, I guess, the state, I guess you would say. And then, they talking about how they will end up dead, including their son. And she's like, y'all, she said, your old dried up barren ass ain't got no kids. She said, oh, yes, we do. We just adopted our son today. Meet Dean, whatever, something Love. I forgot what the last name was. Who they legally adopted. I said, you motherfuckers. All right, you guys. So that was this episode of Claws. Be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later on today, which is Monday, because I'm actually recording this video Monday morning. And I will see you guys later on tonight for Love and Hip Hop, the season finale. Thank fucking God for that. So see you soon.